The 7812 regulator IC provides A5V, B5V, C12V, D12V. The correct answer is 12V. Refer to the given figure. If the zener diode had a rating of 1.7V, the output voltage would be A 2.13V, B 8.36V, C 20.16V, D 25V. The correct answer is 8.36V. Refer to the given figure. This circuit operates at a frequency and its efficiency is A low, B low high, C high, D high low. The correct answer is high. Voltage regulators keep a constant output voltage when the input or load varies within limits. A DC, B AC, C ripple, D. The correct answer is DC. Calculate the ripple voltage of a full-wave rectifier with a 7.5 floor filter capacitor connected to a load drawing 40 mA. A 1.20V, B 1.28V, C 1.32V, D 1.41V. The correct answer is 1.28V. In which period is the capacitor filter discharged through the load in a full-wave rectifier? A. The time during the positive cycle. B. The time during which the diodes are not conducting. C. The time during which the diodes are conducting. D. The time during the negative cycle. The correct answer is the time during which the diodes are not conducting. The 7805 regulator IC provides A5V, B5V, C12V, D12V. The correct answer is 5V. What is the range of the voltage level of the LM317 adjusted voltage regulator? A 0V to 5V, B 1.2V to 37V, C 5V to 24V, D 5V to 24V. The correct answer is 1.2V to 37V. A voltage regulator with a no-load output DC voltage of 12V is connected to a load with a resistance of 10. If the load resistance decreases to 7.5, the load voltage will decrease to 10.9V. The load current will be and the percent load regulation is A 1.45 A 90.8, B 1.45 A 10.09, C 1.2 A 90.8, D 1.2 A 10.09. The correct answer is 1.45 A 10.09. Refer to the given figure. Determine the output voltage V out. A 25V, B 5.1V, C 20.2V, D 4.1V. The correct answer is 20.2V. Refer to the given figure. This circuit is known as A series pass voltage regulator, B a shunt voltage regulator, C a step-up switching regulator, D a step-down switching regulator. The correct answer is a shunt voltage regulator. Calculate the voltage regulation of a power supply having VNL 50V and VFL 48V. A 4.17, B 5.2, C 6.2, D 7.1. The correct answer is 4.17. Switching regulator efficiencies can be greater than %. A 60, B 70, C 80, D 90. The correct answer is 90. The 7912 regulator IC provides A5V, B5V, C12V, D12V. The correct answer is 12V. If a peak rectified voltage for the full-wave filter circuit is 40V, calculate the filter DC voltage if C75 floor and load current is 40 mA. A 27.9 V, B 32.12 V, C 37.78 V, D 40 V. The correct answer is 37.78 V. What is the typical dropout voltage for the 7812 fixed positive voltage regulator? A 4 mV, B 100 mV, C 1.5 V, D 2 V. The correct answer is 2 V. What is the ratio of the period of the output voltage to the period of the input voltage in a full wave rectifier? A 0, B 0.5, C 1, D 2. The correct answer is 0.5. If the value of full load voltage is the same as the no load voltage, the voltage regulation calculated is which is the best expected? A 0, B 1, C 99, D 100. The correct answer is 0. Calculate the ripple of a filter output having a 20 V DC component and a 1.7 V RMS AC component. A 6, B 8.5, C 85, D 58. The correct answer is 8.5. A voltage regulator has a no-load output of 18 V and a full load output of 17.3 V. The percent load regulation is A 0.25, B 96.1, C 4.05, D 1.04. The correct answer is 4.05. A switching regulator that is configured as a voltage inverter produces what type of output? A. An AC output with opposite phase to the input AC. B. A DC output that is the negative of the DC input voltage. C. An output that is a higher voltage than the input voltage. D. An AC output from a DC input voltage. The correct answer is a DC output that is the negative of the DC input voltage. Refer to the given figure. This circuit is called A series pass voltage regulator, B. A shunt voltage regulator, C. A step-up switching regulator, D. A step-down switching regulator. The correct answer is a step-down switching regulator. In figure 17(1) see question 6. The purpose of R1 is to A. Provide a reference voltage, B. Limit current through the diode, C. Limit voltage to the op-amp, D. Provide output voltage sampling. The correct answer is limit current through the diode. For a full wave rectifier with AC ripple at 120 Hz, the impedance of a capacitor can be calculated using XC. A 0.707 C, B 1.414 C, C 1.3 C, D 0.785 C. The correct answer is 1.3 C. What is the purpose of an additional RC filter section in a power supply circuit? A. Increase the DC voltage component, B. Increase the AC voltage component, C. Decrease the AC voltage component, D. None of the above. The correct answer is decrease the AC voltage component. In which period is the capacitor filter charged in a full wave rectifier? A. The time during the positive cycle, B. The time during which the diodes are not conducting, C. The time during which the diodes are conducting, D. The time during the negative cycle. The correct answer is the time during which the diodes are conducting. In this improved series regulator circuit, which of the following components is the sampling circuit? A. Zener diode, B. Load resistor, C. Either of the two transistors Q1 or Q2, D. Resistors R1 and R2. The correct answer is resistors R1 and R2. In which of the following applications is a pulsating DC voltage suitable? A. Battery charger, B. Radio, C. Stereo system. D. Computer. The correct answer is battery charger. Refer to the given figure. If the output of the circuit were to be a short circuit, what power rating would R1 need to have? A. 2.25 watts. B. 5 watts. C. 10 watts. D. 22.5 watts. The correct answer is 22.5 watts. Refer to the given figure. This circuit is known as A series pass voltage regulator. B. A shunt voltage regulator. C. A step-up switching regulator. D. A step-down switching regulator. The correct answer is a series pass voltage regulator. The purpose of the added RC section is to pass most of the DC component while reducing as much of the AC component as possible. A. True. B. False. C. D. The correct answer is true. In a series regulator, what is the purpose of fold-back limiting? A. To provide more current in the case of a short circuit. B. To limit output voltage if input voltage goes too high. C. To bypass the passed transistor if the passed transistor should fail. D. To provide current up to a maximum but drop current to a lower value when the output becomes shorted to prevent overheating of the device. The correct answer is to provide current up to a maximum but drop current to a lower value when the output becomes shorted to prevent overheating of the device. Refer to the given figure. The purpose for the zener diode D1 is A. To supply a reference voltage. B. To amplify the error signal. C. To sense the error signal. D. To limit the input voltage to the circuit. The correct answer is to supply a reference voltage. In a simple series regulator circuit, which of the following components is the controlling element? A. Load resistor. B. Zener diode. C. Transistor Q1. D. None of the above. The correct answer is transistor Q1. Calculate the DC voltage across a 2K load for an RC filter section R50C20 floor. The DC voltage across the initial filter capacitor is VDC 50V. A. 40.78V. B. 42.78V. C. 45.78V. D. 48.78V. The correct answer is 48.78V. Refer to the given figure. If the load is short-circuited, what would be the maximum current through R1? A. 1A. B. 1.2A. C. 1.5A. D. 5A. The correct answer is 1.5A. In an improved shunt regulator, which of the following components sets the reference voltage? A. Transistor Q1. B. Zener diode. C. Transistor Q2. D. RS. The correct answer is Zener diode. Regulation can be defined as the percentage change in the output voltage for a given change in load current. A. Line. B. Load. C. D. The correct answer is load. How many diodes conduct in the full wave bridge rectifier while the capacitor is being charged? A. 1. B. 2. C. 3. D. 4. The correct answer is 2. Refer to the given figure. If a solder splash shorted the ends of R1 to each other, A. The op-amp would fail. B. Q1 would open. C. The output voltage would not change. D. The zener would fail. The correct answer is the zener would fail. Calculate the ripple of a capacitor filter for a peak rectified voltage of 40 V, a capacitor value C75 floor, and a load current of 40 mA. A. 3.2. B. 3.59. C. 4.03. D. 4.59. The correct answer is 3.2. How many terminals does a 7800 series IC regulator have? A2, B3, C4, D. None of the above. The correct answer is 3. What are the typical values of Vref and I adjective for the LM317 adjustable voltage regulator? A 1.0 V100 mA, B 1.5 V100 mA, C 1.25 V100A, D 1.25 V10 mA. The correct answer is 1.25 V100A. In this op-amp series regulator circuit, which of the following components is the comparator circuit? A. Op-amp, B. Transistor Q1, C. R1 and R2 resistors, D. Zener diode. The correct answer is op-amp. Which components sets the voltage across the load in a basic transistor shunt regulator? A. Zener diode, B. Transistor base emitter voltage, C. Both the Zener diode and the transistor base emitter voltage, D. None of the above. The correct answer is both the Zener diode and the transistor base emitter voltage. Voltage regulation requires A. Only line regulation, B. Only load regulation, C. A constant load, D. Load and line regulation. The correct answer is load and line regulation. Across which of the following components of a power supply does the average DC voltage exist? A. Diodes, B. Secondary of the transformer, C. Capacitor filter, D. None of the above. The correct answer is capacitor filter. Switching regulators are more efficient than linear regulators and are particularly useful in voltage current applications. A. High-high, B. Low-high, C. High-low, D. The correct answer is low-high. For what range of load current can voltage regulators be selected for operation? A. Hundreds of picoamperes to tens of nanoamperes, B. Hundreds of picoamperes to tens of milliamperes, C. Hundreds of milliamperes to tens of amperes, D. None of the above. The correct answer is hundreds of milliamperes to tens of amperes. The 7905 regulator IC provides A. 5V, B. 5V, C. 12V, D. 12V. The correct answer is 5V. What type of regulator offers inherent short circuit protection? A. Shunt regulators, B. Series regulators, C. 3-terminal regulators, D. Switching regulators. The correct answer is shunt regulators. Refer to the given figure. The inductor and capacitor are used for A. Amplifying the error signal, B. Controlling the load current, C. Turning on the pulse width oscillator, D. Filtering the DC pulse output. The correct answer is filtering the DC pulse output. Refer to the given figure. If the B junction of Q1 opens, the output voltage Vout will A. Increase, B. Decrease, C. Remain the same, D. The correct answer is decrease. This circuit is an example of the AC equivalent of an RC filter. A. True, B. False, C. D. The correct answer is false. Refer to the given figure. If the output voltage tends to decrease due to an increase in load current, the transistor will conduct for time each cycle. A. Longer, B. Shorter, C. The same, D. The correct answer is longer. The larger the value of the capacitor, the smaller the peak current drawn through the rectifying diodes. A. True, B. False, C. D. The correct answer is false. In a shunt linear regulator, the control element is in parallel with the load. A. Inductor, B. Capacitor, C. Transistor. D. The correct answer is transistor. For what range of fixed regulated voltages do the series 78XX regulators provide regulation? A. 5V to 24V. B. 5V to 24V. C. 5V to 24V. D. None of the above. The correct answer is 5V to 24V. In a series linear regulator, the control element is in series with the load. A. Inductor. B. Capacitor. C. Transistor. D. The correct answer is transistor. What regulated output voltage is provided for the following circuit elements? R115K, R235K and VZ11.2V. A. 16.50V. B. 17V. C. 17.35V. D. 18.25V. The correct answer is 17V. Regulation can be defined as the percentage change in the output voltage for a given change in the input voltage. A. Line. B. Load. C. D. The correct answer is line.